Tools and necessary supplies. Ratchet slash socket set with the 1/4 inch, 3/8 and 1/2 inch drive. Torque wrench with a 1/2 inch drive. Torque spit sockets with the 3/4 inch drive. Flathead and Phillips head screwdrivers ranging from small, medium, large. Spark plug gap gauge and the parts you'll be replacing. The distributor button, distributor cap, spark plug, and ignition wires. Hello, Huzz. You may notice the car's not exactly together, and that's because we're fixing it. I'm going to show you how to put spark plugs, distributor cap, and button, and wires all back on your car. Let's get moving. Spark plug, torque wrench, set to 20 foot-pounds. Make sure you check your spark plug gap. For my car, it's supposed to be 0.028 inches. As you may see, it is now down in there. The way I got that down in there is I used my fingers and carefully dropped it down in. And then I got it seated. As you can see, I forgot to do this as in threaded on, but as you can see, it's turning. I have it set so when I can just turn the extensions. That is a good trick. It helps you get to the point where you need to tighten it to spec, which is right here. So you want to hold your hand here and hold the other hand on the handle of the ratchet and go until it clicks. Once you hear click or beep, depending on your torque wrench, that's how you know it is to spec. So don't do any more than that. Be careful or else you'll hurt your engine head, and that is not good. Go ahead, take a gander. As you may see, they are now all in there, all torqued to 20 foot-pounds. So with that done, I'm going to move on to the next part, which is putting my button on. Now for a meticulous part. This is your button. That's the bearing it goes on to. The 3 holes, that's where it's going to go. Or screw into, I should say. You want to make sure it's facing the correct direction, which is 2 o'clock for me. This is a Bosch button, and you are going to put this on with a small Phillips head screwdriver. You had to tighten the screws into the button, so make sure you do that first, but don't do it too much because otherwise you're going to have to unscrew them like I did. So as I'm doing this, I'm also going to talk about Bosch. This is a quality brand that I specifically know is more so German products than anything. Quality matters more than anything for the parts you put on your car. The spark plugs were Bosch. My wires are Bosch. Cap, button, all of it's Bosch. This brand is known for its reliability and decent warranties. Don't put crappy parts on, otherwise you are going to have to be doing this again when they fail in a short mileage. I'm also going to mention, do not worry about torque. These, you're just going to tighten down till you can't tighten them down anymore, otherwise you're going to cause stripping to the heads of them, and that's damage. Here are my wires going from top to bottom. That's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's your power that goes to it. And I'm going to show you where that goes. So real quick in the video, I forgot to show you, this is supposed to go over your button. This prevents any water or any grime, dust, anything bad from getting down into your button. As you can see, mine doesn't really stay on too well, but it's going to stay on once I put my cap on. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how that's done real quick. Here is my cap as I'm screwing it on. I'm using a medium-sized, long, flathead screwdriver just so I can reach in there. I had to take the wires off because they were unfortunately in my way. And, you know, that causes a lot of issues. When something's in your way and you can't get it on, you know, how are you going to get it on? Well, you're going to have to start taking more off. So that's what I had to do. But I'm going to show you the firing order just in a second. Here is your engine and distributor cap firing order. The firing order is actually 1, 2, 5, 4, 3 for the engine. Pretend you're looking at the engine from the front. From passenger side to driver side, that's similar to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You got to make sure that 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 2, you know, yada yada. And then obviously you're going to have your power supply in the middle of that. I'm going to let you take a second, take this in, and, you know, write it down. If you don't have this set up correctly, it's going to cause more issues, and your car's not only going to start, but you might even blow it up. I'm not going to lie to you. Read Super Lube and weep while you do. Yeah, laugh all you want. Haha. Anyways, we're going to put this on the connections, and I'll tell you why in a second. So I have this small little paintbrush, And while I go ahead and struggle to get this wire set up so I can do it, I'm going to tell you what it does. Super Lube, it's going to prevent any corrosion damage from happening. So if water got in there, it would prevent your cap and power supply lines here from corroding, sticking together, rusting, all that. I did this to both ends of the connections, the ones that stick to the cap and the ones that stuck to the spark plugs. You don't have to use any freaky super lube. You can use really any sort of grease. So I'm going to do that to all of them, then put them on, and I'll show you what I have to do after that. And here is the super lube on the spark plug connections. But I'm also going to show you another small trick. You see the holes, mostly the head, yeah, get that lubed up too. This will prevent your rubber from not only drying out, but if it does dry out, this prevents it from sticking and being a pain to remove if you have to do this once again. And go ahead, begin putting your spark plug connections on. So one thing I want to say is when you do this, listen for a nice click or feel a nice pop onto it, you know. If you don't feel that, I wouldn't say fret too much, but if you do get a little scared, go ahead, pop them off, check your connections. If they're off to the side a little bit, just pull it off, use a small flathead screwdriver, and, you know, pry it back into place. They are made loose, the connections in there. It is now time for your power supply. This is your ignition coil right here on your driver's side of the engine bay. This one's unfortunately cheap and may be going for me, so this might be replaced soon. But when you put this together, make sure you listen for a click too. I am also going to mention it does not matter which end goes where. As you can see, they're both the same. It's not going to cause any damage. So I'm going to go ahead, get that put on, then tell you what else to do. Watch this magic trick. Boom, engine cover. For this, you're going to want to use your 3/8 drive ratchet with your 3/8 drive torque spit. This is a T30 size torque spit. If you use anything bigger, it's not going to fit. If you use anything smaller, it's going to strip out the head. I'm going to tell you right now, I was missing a few. So there's, I think, 2 or 1 missing. Otherwise, I have the rest. Do not tighten these any more than what happens when you stop. If you try and do that, you're going to break them. Mine are old, they're rusty, they're small. They are not meant to be torqued down. They're literally just to hold on that pretty little cover that says Volvo 20 valve. You don't want to be stripping anything, breaking anything, because otherwise you're going to have to buy a screw extractor set, and then you got to fix that, and it's a big pain. So I went ahead, got that put on. Oh, look at the fuel rail too. Oh, look how pretty and shiny it is. But now with that done, we have everything that we have needed put together. Time for the air filter. So one thing I did is when I took the air filter out, I had to take out the mass airflow. I put this rag in here to prevent any mice from going down in there. And as you can tell, it's still there, which means it worked. So I'm going to go ahead. Now I'm going to show you where to put the bottom of the air box. Bingo, bango, magic trick. Look at that, just appeared in my hands. Look how dirty it is. Don't worry about that. I asked about cleaning that, but look at that. See these holes? Down at the bottom, you have these 2 tabs right here. You're going to go ahead and just push it on, basically. You're going to have to move a few things out of the way. You're going to have to, you know, bend a pipe that comes from the front of the car down, and you're going to have to bend that out of the way a little bit, you know, stuff. Get it around in there. But as you may see, I also have these 2 T25 screws. I'm going to go ahead and show you where these go. So I have this put in, and you had to push this down. Don't worry about it moving. That's normal. But time for the screws. So you see these screws. Be careful with these. They are not going to be meant to be super tight. But this is your vacuum line holder. It's a little rubber thing that has a few vacuum lines and a sensor on it. Careful with this. Don't be pulling on it a bunch. Don't break any lines. They may be dry rotted. But go ahead, tighten that down nice and carefully. And then now it's time for the air filter. Look how icky this is. This thing's dirty. I know I need a new one. Right now I'm worried about tires. So this doesn't require anything hard to be put on. It just clips into place basically. And here's the top of the airbox. You can see the mass airflow, which points towards the engine right here. This is your mass airflow. You can tell which direction it goes by the arrow, and it's tightened on. Well, I shouldn't say tightened on. Hose. It's more so clipped onto the hose at an angle, and then you use a snake clamp to hold it on. You see that little sensor bit on it? I'm going to show you where that goes in a second too. There we go. I have it put onto the pipe. I'm going to show you. You can use a flathead screwdriver or a decently small socket. I'm not sure what size because I only use head screwdrivers when I do it. go ahead, tighten it, don't over tighten it. Now for that sensor, as you can see, if you take a look, it's got 2 notches in the top of it. Then take a look at the sensor on the mass airflow, and you can see 2 notches. You go ahead, push down on the top of this, and you slide it right on. It should click right on, shouldn't move anything else after that. Now you got this small little pipe, you just go ahead, push this on, and it's also got another snake clamp, so you're going to use another flathead, about medium size for both, and you're going to tighten those on. Now, once that's done, go ahead, start clipping the top of the airbox on. Now that it's, mostly together, all you need now is your battery more than anything. You can put your airbox together. That's pretty neat, ain't it? But you may see I took my power supply off there. I had to move it around a little bit. But otherwise, yeah. You're about to put your battery on, and then in a little bit, you're going to have your car back together. Magic trick. Look at that. My battery just appeared. Ignore my feet. So this is your negative side, or your negative post, and then the other side is your positive post. Negative post is going to be facing away from the engine, and then the positive post is also going to be facing towards the engine. Positive is also red, negative is black. I had an issue. My battery was not charged, so it took a while. I had to charge it, so it starts later in the video, but every every battery terminal is a 10 mil socket as far as I know. So go ahead, get that on nice and tight, and then you should finally have power. Crank her over. Weird, but she runs now. She's holding one. And let's see, I got a light bulb out and my service light, which I've done. That's everything. Goodbye, Huzz.